Well, welcome everybody. Today's webinar is going to cover how to train your staff using the InchHouse Interactive Learning Center. We only have about 15 minutes to get through this, so let's get started. My name is Jason Galliner and I am the Education Manager for InchHouse Interactive. Yep, we are going to record this webinar and you'll get a link afterwards in case you want to share it. Feel free to ask any questions in the GoToWebinar control panel and I will try to answer them when we are done. We do have some upcoming courses that I want you to be aware of. We have the CC Intermediate Admin course happening in Dallas next month in October. It's October 25th through 27th. It's great for those that already have a decent amount of experience with our software and want to fine-tune the things in their contact center. We also have the CC Administration Foundation course. That's happening in early December. Location yet to be determined. It's if you're new or if you've never had a good lesson in how to administrate that software. It's a perfect class for you. And then we have another 15-minute webinar on October 9th for the transition from desktop to touch point. So if you're still one of our legacy customers using desktop, it's probably great for you to take. Something I want to mention in case you are transitioning to our software, or if you're transitioning from desktop to touch point, change can be hard, change can be painful, and change can also be liberating and beautiful. Either way, significant change is usually preceded by chaos. And let me be clear, I hope that our software causes great change within your company. It's meant to. The tools you use often dictate the way you do business, and I hope you're willing to make the changes necessary to run your contact center at its most optimal, not just at its most comfortable. Having said that, let's talk a bit about how you can minimize the pain inherent with training people on a brand new software package. So what is the Learning Center? The Learning Center is an LMS or a learning management system that we run through a vendor called Litmus. We pay Litmus to host our training courses and our content, and then we import your staff in bulk so they can take advantage of the resources that we've stored there. What you're seeing here is the backend, or the administrator's portion of the window. Let's take a look at what your staff will see when they log in. So when your staff logs in, they're going to see something exactly like this. They can see their progress at a glance and know how many courses they've been assigned and how many they've completed. They can switch between courses that they have in progress and courses that they haven't started yet. We rarely make courses time sensitive, so you won't see many in the past due section. And this is where they can start each course. Notice the scroll button to the right letting them know that they have more courses to take. If you hover your mouse over a course, it will show your progress and allow you to start or resume the course. And once you've started a course, they'll see a module outline of what they need to take. Many of our lessons have helpful documentation that learners can download from the Additional References tab. Most often, these are our quick reference cards, and they are excellent and probably should be distributed before cutover. Probably you'll print these out and deliver them to everyone yourself, or you can have them do so straight from our training modules. It's completely up to you. This way is probably best for new hires as you go along. If you've forgotten to print them out the documentation, they can do so themselves. Now, once they have been downloaded, at least the documentation that is, the learners can choose which modules they want to take. Some modules are video-based, and others are interactive tutorials. I want you to notice that over on the right-hand side, the course shows which modules have been completed and which ones have not. I went through one of our tutorials, and I recorded myself going through it. So this is a sample that I've sped up a bit, and I've also kind of stretched it out a little bit so the resolution's a little rough. Basically, there's a guy that walks them through the daily actions of an agent, and it asks them to figure out how to do, common tasks performed by an agent. To be brutally honest, much of our software is just it's really intuitive. So on many of our tutorials, we've made them intentionally harder in an effort to engage the learner even more. While we have over 100 different courses to choose from, this is a list of the most popular that are used. They're basically broken down by product and then by role. We try to only give people what they need and no more than that. We do have courses on CCE and CP if you happen to have those applications. So where do you start if you want to take advantage of the site? Well, if you're new to InchHouse's solutions, you'll want to take advantage of our deployment resources page. This page has got some quick videos on how many aspects of our software work. And also, it has some files to help your staff through the change management process. These include a poster for hanging around your office, letting people know that there's change coming. There's an email template explaining the switch. There's even a little cartoon that helps make the change less intimidating. I've cropped this picture a bit, so there are more files to be found on this page than what you see here. This is an image of our Learning Center sign-up form. You fill this in with all of your staff that you want to get trained, and then you send it into your installer or to the email address you see here on the slide. And then we'll bulk upload all of the users into the system. It's helpful if you are brand new to us, because you can do everybody at the same time, or if you're upgrading from desktop to touchpoint. If you only need to add a few users to the system, you don't need to use the form, you can add them yourself. And I'll talk more about this in just a few slides. One little thing I want to point out, the role you choose for each person determines which team we add them to, and the team determines which courses they have access to. Once we've uploaded all of your users, they will automatically be sent an email from the InchHouse Learning Center. It looks something like this. Each user has a login that is specific to them, and that's so you can report on them as individuals. Once they log in, the site will ask them to set their own custom password, so you don't have to do that for them. If all else fails and you need the direct link for logging in, it can be found right here. Notice that it is an HTTPS address as opposed to just an HTTP address. One word of advice. I want you to warn your staff that these emails are coming. When they are delivered, they look an awful lot like spam and often get deleted. So give them a heads up beforehand. Okay, so then what? Well, to the end user, they start taking the tutorials and the videos and they learn how to use our software. But what about you as the administrator? We set you up as a team leader. Team leaders can do things like add new users, resend login emails, fix bad email addresses, which is a common problem. You can also run reports on your users as well. And we can set up your supervisors or your team leads as team leaders if that helps make your life easier. Make them do the work for you. The single coolest thing that you can do as a team leader is to add new users as you hire them. Notice I've highlighted that in the upper right hand corner. You don't have to email us. You don't have to wait for me or my team to get back from vacation. You can do this yourself in about 2 minutes and probably less once you've done it a couple times. You should note that when we build your teams in the system, we build what we call a parent team with appropriate child teams. So in this case, the parent team is in the upper left called Irvine Staff, and in the lower right, those are the child teams. And those child teams represent the types of users that you have: agents, supervisors, administrators. So as you add new users, you'll need to be aware of what team or teams you've added them to. The add new user process is really pretty easy. The most important thing is making sure that the email address is correct. Remember, you don't have to set a password for them, as they'll get that in their first time login email, and then it walks them through setting up their own password. Once you've added that new user, you will want to assign them to all of the appropriate child teams, like the agent or supervisor teams. Remember, the team that they are in determines which courses they have access to. Inevitably, you'll have an email address or two that are bad, and the user won't get their login email. You can edit that user to fix the problem. It's really a pretty easy fix. But while we're looking at this screen, I want to point out that this is where you can reset a user's password as well. Normally, you don't have to actually change it. There's just an option to send them their login information, and that's all it takes. There are a number of reports that you'll probably want to run. These range from who's logged in to who's completed individual courses. The courses report is probably the one you will use most. It's basically just one click or maybe 2 clicks away and easy to run. It's not something I have to show you how to do. And if somebody quits, you really don't have to sweat it. We get charged by the number of unique logins for the month. So for all I care, you can leave them in the system. However, if you care, if you are worried about it, you can deactivate them. And there's a button for that in the upper right. Totally up to you, though, whether you choose to do this or not. Another cool feature is your ability to offload this type of administrative work onto somebody else simply by making them a team leader. Any team leader can make another person on their team a team leader simply by clicking on this promote button that you see on the screen. If you're wondering about a team leader versus a team admin, there's really no functional difference between the two, so just make them a team leader and you'll be just fine. Let's talk about some of the do's, don'ts, and notes. Do. Make sure that users are downloading and printing the quick reference cards. These are important and they should have them in hand. Don't. Well, don't assume that all questions that your staff will ask will be about our software. New software usually involves procedural changes that you're going to need to address. Do. Have users take the courses when your contact center is slow. Avoid Monday mornings and make sure your agents know why you're doing this. Don't. Well, don't wait for us to fix something as easy as a bad email address. You can do this same exact thing, and then you don't have to wait for us to do it for you. It's faster. And I think this last one is an important note. We are sometimes asked for more agent training for specific agents, but not all of your agents need more of our software training. Some of them simply need just basic computer skills. And that's not something our tutorials are designed to help with. You're going to need to be able to distinguish between the two problems, whether it's just our software or basic computer skills. And that's really about it. I just want to remind you of our upcoming courses. You can see those on the screen. I hope you join us. And I want to know if you're interested in anything that I've brought up today. Jenna, if you can start up the poll, that'd be great. Are you interested in enrolling your staff in the Learning Center? If so, we can send you a sign-up form. Do you want to upgrade to the latest version of Touchpoint? Would you like to attend one of our CC administration courses coming up? I've got it on good authority that the couple of guys that teach that class are absolutely fantastic. You should go. You'll get a lot out of it. And Jenna, I think I'm good with that, so as long as you are, let's take that poll down. Thank you very much. One little piece of housekeeping. You can find all of our previously recorded webinars at this URL that you see on your screen. And if you are wondering, I post every one of these 15-minute webinars to the Learning Center so they can be accessed from there as well. I hope you'll take advantage of it. And we're done. I hope you enjoyed the short time that we spent together. You have a great day. Here's my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. Jenna, do we have any questions?